So, all right, what do we have in effect right now? Our current warnings and advisories, we have some changes overnight. We did expand the winter storm warning north to include a little bit more of the Atlanta metro area, including Fulton, Cobb, Gwinnett counties. And we have a winter weather advisory in effect for most of the rest of North Georgia, with the exception of a few counties up in extreme northwest Georgia. Extreme southeast Georgia, down in Charleston's area, does have an ice storm warning because they're expecting primarily freezing rain in those areas. But for most of our area, we are looking at a combination of some sort of mainly snow, sleet, and a little bit of freezing rain in extreme southeast. So here's the current radar. You can see that there's some returns starting to show up to the southwest of the Atlanta metro area. We have had reports of some sleet, maybe a little bit of snow in Troup County, even as far east as Lamar, a little bit in Monroe County as well. So it is starting. This will be spreading east through the day. Areas, if it's not already precipitating where you are, west metro side, it will start within the next few hours. We do have some uncertainties that we're dealing with here. One of them is the extremely dry air that we have at the surface. The hourly weather graph that I'm showing here is for the Atlanta airport itself. The same situation is going to be in place across the area. This is just as an example. The top image that you're seeing is the temperature and dew point, and the bottom image there that you see there has relative humidity and our chance of precipitation. So here, the first part of the day and into early afternoon, we've got some very dry air at the surface. So we're not really expecting precipitation to reaching the ground until that near surface air gets saturated. So we're looking at humidities reaching around 80%. So that's definitely one of the uncertainties, depending on how quickly that dry air gets saturated. Because we won't really start accumulating until the relative humidities increase enough for that precipitation to reach the ground. The other uncertainty, especially for the southern portions of our forecast area, will be the transition from rain to sleet to freezing rain to possibly snow. In the area that I have shaded here, generally Columbus to Macon and south, it'll start, it should start earlier today as rain, but the wintry precip will start as a sleet-freezing rain combination, and we're not looking at a transition to snow until sometime after midnight. And again, some of that will depend on how quickly that cooler air moves in aloft, and how quickly that surface layer gets saturated from what we've got, the dry air that we've got in place right now. So again, we do have some uncertainties in when that precipitation type is going to transition to snow from sleet and freezing rain, which will have an impact on the overall amounts of snow and ice that are expected. So with that, the amount of wintry precipitation that we are forecasting, the image on the left here is the freezing rain accumulation, and you can see that generally, again, in that Columbus to Macon and areas south, anywhere from 1/10 to possibly up to 1/4 of an inch in extreme southeast zones. And then as far as the snowfall amounts goes, we're still looking at that area between Atlanta and Macon, that sort of northwest or southwest to northeast oriented band of over 2 inches in those areas, and that includes here in Peachtree City and further east towards Milledgeville, areas like that. So, but even the Atlanta metro area, we're expecting a little bit over 1 inch. So with that and the impacts, we did go ahead and expand the winter storm warning a little bit further north. Now, the image on the right is snow and sleet. So if we end up getting a little bit more sleet, the accumulations will be lower than what we've got here. These, again, these high snow ratios, this is not good snowball snow, not good snowman snow. It's not going to pack together very well. So that's basically what that means. In that transition between south of Atlanta towards Macon, a little bit of snow and sleet, and then further to the southeast, sleet and freezing rain across those southeast sections. So with all that, we do expect some significant impacts from this storm system, especially considering that the precipitation is going to be starting in the afternoon, and we're going to be moving towards rush hour, and what schools still are in effect. Will be maybe letting out as the snow is starting to accumulate. So those are things that you guys are going to have to keep in mind as we go through today. So with that, the temperature trends that we have today, the image on the left is the temperatures at noon, and you can see the freezing temperature should be well into the metro area, still looking at above freezing for Macon and areas to the south and east. By 8 p.m., just about everybody should be freezing or below, and certainly by midnight tonight, everybody is at freezing. So the surface temperatures, of course, will have a big impact on what ends up happening at the ground. You may be getting some sleet, but then it won't stick if the surface temperature doesn't get below freezing. And of course, freezing rain won't really start to accumulate on anything unless it's an elevated surface until the temperature gets below freezing. So our high temperatures are actually occurring this morning, and then they will be decreasing through the day. So as precipitation really becomes more widespread, we should be below freezing just everywhere. Tonight through Thursday, tonight we do expect a hard freeze tonight and again tomorrow night. Highs on Wednesday will probably get to above freezing in a large portion of the area, so that may melt everything, but anything that melts, again, we're looking at that refreezing with another hard freeze Thursday morning. So anything that melts will refreeze on the roads. So that's another thing to keep in mind. As if that wasn't enough, what we're looking at, especially tomorrow morning, is some dangerous wind chills, especially from Atlanta north. It's maybe kind of hard to see, but if you see any whites or pinks, especially up in the mountains, we're looking at below 0 Fahrenheit wind chills. Anything in the lightest shade of purple is going to be anywhere from 0 to 5 above 0. So we may be needing to issue a wind chill advisory, but we didn't want to issue that just yet because the main impact from this system is going to be the wintry precipitation. So in summary, we do expect some significant travel problems across much of central and portions of North Georgia. We really advise a lot of caution for this the afternoon rush hour because especially across the Atlanta metro area and even maybe down towards Macon, we'll probably start seeing some snow or maybe some sleet begin to stick. So if possible, we encourage everybody to leave work early if you can because the rush hour plus wintry precip, people get out there, the friction from the tires on the ground, whatever's on the roads will probably melt, but should refreeze fairly quickly as the temperatures continue to drop. So we are definitely looking at some travel issues. The further southeast you go, again, maybe not so much earlier in the day, but certainly by tomorrow morning, we're going to be looking at the freezing rain accumulations of 1/4 of an inch. We could be looking at power outages. So we definitely have some significant impacts from this system. Again, the heaviest snowfall amounts still appear to be in that southwest-northeast band between Macon and Atlanta, and we are expecting significant icing up to 1/4 of an inch from freezing rain and extreme southeast zones, which will likely lead to some power outages. With that, like I said, we have had some reports already of some sleet just to the southwest side of the Atlanta metro area. We started having some reports of snow starting to stick up in extreme North Georgia, so we are going to be keeping a very close eye on this system today as it evolves. I mentioned that uncertainty about the near-surface dry air. If that saturates very quickly, we could have more accumulations than expected, so please stay on top of this as we have to maybe update forecasts and reissue products and things like that.